In the shadows of Malaysia's lush, tropical forests within the enigmatic Cameron Highlands, in 1967, a disappearance occurred that continues to stir imaginations even decades later. This is the story of Jim Thompson, an American businessman, a legend, the man who revitalized the Thai silk industry and the mystery that remains unsolved. Imagine a riot of tropical green, shimmering rays of sunlight piercing through the dense foliage, creating a play of light and shadow. And a man simply vanished, as if dissolved into thin air, leaving only questions and speculation. Jim Thompson was more than just a successful businessman. He was an adventurer, an artist, a man of refined taste and exceptional intuition. He served in the Office of Strategic Services, OSS, the predecessor to the Central Intelligence Agency, during World War II, and after it ended, he chose a completely different path, a path of art and commerce. Moving to Thailand, he saw the incredible potential that traditional Thai silk held within it. He breathed new life into it, making it a global brand, a symbol of luxury and sophistication. Thompson's silk became the embodiment of elegance. His fabrics adorned the runways and wardrobes of the world's most influential people. Jim Thompson was a man of immense charisma, capable of winning hearts and inspiring great achievements. He was renowned for his eccentric taste, a lover of art and collecting, and possessed an endless passion for life. His name was recognized in the highest echelons of society. He was acquainted with members of the Thai royal family and enjoyed the respect of powerful politicians and business magnates. It seemed this man was invincible. However, even the most powerful are not immune to tragedy. In 1967, Jim Thompson decided to spend his holiday in Malaysia, in the Cameron Highlands. These were stunning mountain regions, attracting many tourists. There, amidst the tea plantations, a cool climate and untouched nature reigned. Jim stayed in a cozy hotel called Moonlight Cottage. On March 26, 1967, after lunch, Jim Thompson went for a walk. He was accompanied by his sister, Connie Munro, and her spouse, George. They went towards the bustling local market, then wandered into a fragrant garden. At one point, Jim suddenly announced he wanted to be alone, away from the noise and chaos. He moved away from the group, vanished into the green of the trees, and disappeared, as if he had never existed. Some time passed, and Connie and George, alarmed by Jim's prolonged absence, felt anxiety tighten their throats. They began a frantic search. Worried, they scoured the surrounding area, calling his name repeatedly, but only an echo answered. No one had seen where he went. From that moment on, one of the most extensive search operations in the history of Malaysia began. The search commenced. First, the police appeared at the scene. Then the military joined them, along with numerous volunteers from the local population, experienced hunters, and even a few clairvoyants, all eager to assist in the desperate endeavor. The search area covered a colossal expanse. The jungle was combed with fanatical diligence, every bush, every ravine, every hidden nook examined. Yet, not a single trace of the missing Jim Thompson could be found. The search, which had begun as a matter of days, stretched into long weeks, becoming a grueling race against time and despair. Despite all their efforts, the mystery of the disappearance remained unsolved, as if shrouded in a thick veil of secrecy. Each, even the slightest clue, turned out to be a false lead, leading to a dead end of dashed hopes. From Jim's personal belongings, only a few items were recovered: his hat, his cane, and his spectacles. All these objects were discovered in the very area where he supposedly vanished. Strangely, the items had been neatly arranged. This fact seemed to contradict the accidental death scenario, yet it didn't eliminate it entirely. Numerous theories about what happened had begun to surface. One of the most probable was an accident. It was entirely possible that Jim had gotten lost in the impenetrable jungle, fallen into a deep ravine, succumbed to a venomous snake, or fallen prey to the claws of a wild animal. The jungle, concealing countless dangers, was treacherous and unpredictable, and such an outcome seemed entirely plausible. However, the absence of any signs of a struggle, the disappearance of his personal belongings, which should have been scattered in chaotic disarray, cast doubt on this version of events. Another theory was abduction. Jim Thompson, who moved in a dangerous and mysterious world, might have become involved in some dark dealings and had enemies who wished him harm. Perhaps he was kidnapped for ransom or simply eliminated as an unwanted witness. But if it were abduction, then why hadn't the kidnappers made contact, not even demanded a $1? Finally, some speculated that Jim Thompson might have orchestrated his own disappearance. Perhaps he yearned for a fresh start, to escape his past, or to hide from someone or something. He was an enigmatic man, with a rich past, the shadows of which concealed many secrets. His decision to fade into the shadows seemed entirely plausible, especially to those familiar with his history. As the investigation stalled, new, increasingly improbable theories emerged. Some whispered of a political conspiracy, others hinted at the involvement of powerful secret services, while still others linked his disappearance to opium smuggling, in which he was alleged to have participated. All these rumors only served to complicate the matter, shrouding it in a mystical aura. Years passed, and the case of Jim Thompson grew into a legend. His disappearance became the subject of numerous publications, documentary films, and works of fiction. Dozens of books were written and hundreds of films were made, in which authors and directors attempted to unravel this mystery, but none of them could provide a definitive answer. Dot the I's. The investigation, which began in 1967, took place not only in Malaysia, but also in other countries, attracting the attention of international experts and detectives. The American authorities joined the search. There was unease in Washington. An American citizen had disappeared, and a man as influential and well-known as he was. The FBI, the CIA, all the security agencies were thrown into the investigation. But even they, with all their experience and resources, couldn't get further than the Malaysian investigators. One of the most curious details of the case was the identity of Jim Thompson himself. Despite the fact that he was a public figure, not much was known about his life, especially his past. He was a secretive man, unwilling to share details of his biography. His work in the Office of Strategic Services during the Second World War sparked particular interest. Rumors swirled that he'd been involved in secret operations, connected to powerful figures. Perhaps his past played a fateful role in his disappearance. The role of the media in this mysterious case couldn't be ignored. Jim Thompson's vanishing instantly sparked a colossal public outcry. Newspapers, magazines, and television, like predatory birds, descended upon the story. The media fiercely pressured the police, demanding the case be solved quickly, as if eager to quench a thirst for sensationalism. Simultaneously, they fueled public interest, cloaking the event in a thick fog of mystery. During the investigation, dozens of witnesses emerged. Some claimed they saw Jim on that fateful day. Others reported suspicious individuals lurking around Cameron Highlands. However, all these testimonies, like shards of a broken mirror, were contradictory and imprecise, fading in the memories of the witnesses. One of the most puzzling aspects of this case concerned the behavior of Jim's sister, Connie Munro. She was with him at the time of his disappearance, an unwitting witness to the tragedy. She enthusiastically participated in the search efforts, yet those around her noticed her unsettling calmness, as if no passions stirred within her. She seemed to possess an uncanny ability to remain composed, betraying none of her true feelings. Many believed she knew more than she revealed, as though she guarded a secret. However, any confirmation of these suspicions was entirely absent. In the 1970s, Jim Thompson's case was officially closed. Investigators concluded they lacked sufficient grounds to continue the investigation. The case was declared unsolved, which only signified a formal end to the paperwork, but certainly not the end of the search. Jim's family and loved ones continued to nurture the hope that one day the truth would finally prevail, and the mystery of his disappearance would be revealed. Even after many decades, interest in this mysterious story hasn't waned, still stirring minds and hearts. In the 1990s, new, more thorough attempts at investigation were undertaken. Investigators interviewed new witnesses, carefully studied old documents, hoping to find even a single clue. But alas, all efforts proved futile. The mystery of Jim Thompson's disappearance still remained unsolved, plunging everyone into a whirlpool of guesses and suppositions. One of the latest versions, emerging in recent years, suggested Jim Thompson became a victim of a political conspiracy. It was alleged that he was eliminated because of his ties to communists, who at the time were waging a fierce partisan war in Malaysia. This version, though appearing unlikely, continued to circulate in certain circles, fueling interest in this tragic story. The psychological portrait of Jim Thompson was a collection of contradictions. A man capable of charming, getting his way, while remaining enigmatic and elusive. His penchant for risk, his thirst for freedom, his complex past could have played a fateful role in his disappearance. He was unaccustomed to obedience and unafraid of making difficult decisions. This character trait may have led him to a tragic end, and it likely played a fateful role in his disappearance. One also couldn't ignore the cultural context of those years. Malaysia, in the 1960s, was a conservative society where any deviation from established norms aroused suspicion and condemnation. Jim Thompson, with his extravagant lifestyle, stood out like a sore thumb in a world of strict rules and conventions. Perhaps this very foreignness made him an easy target for those who harbored ill feelings towards him, who wished him harm. Years passed, and people continued to speculate, offering a variety of theories about what had happened. But the true reason for his disappearance remained shrouded in mystery. One could only guess what happened to Jim Thompson on that sad day in the Cameron Highlands, where a pre-storm silence hung in the air and the humid jungle concealed unknown secrets. Perhaps he simply got lost in the thick tropical undergrowth and couldn't find his way back, lost in a labyrinth of green. Perhaps he fell victim to a tragic combination of circumstances, a fateful accident, or even more frighteningly, a cruel crime. Or maybe, just maybe, he simply chose to disappear, starting a new life far from everything he knew. His mysterious vanishing serves as a bitter reminder of the unpredictability and fragility of human fate, that even those with power and influence are not immune to tragedy. This is a story shrouded in secrecy, one that still hasn't found its answer, a story that continues to stir minds and makes us wonder again and again what exactly happened in the Malaysian jungles in those distant 67 years. Each year, hundreds of tourists flock to Cameron Highlands to experience the charm of this place. They wander through the shady tropical forests, admiring the splendor of the pristine nature, but always, somewhere on the periphery of consciousness, like a phantom, looms the figure of Jim Thompson. His story is a perpetual reminder that in this world there are many mysteries, secrets that may never be fully revealed. Nowadays, thanks to the rapid development of modern technologies, we have access to a much greater volume of information than was possible in the year 1967. We can examine archives, meticulously analyze data, and speak with individuals whose lives were somehow connected to this enigmatic case. Yet even this offers no absolute assurance that we will uncover the truth. The question of justice for the victims in matters of this magnitude remains unanswered. We are left only to speculate, plunging into the depths of thought. In conclusion, the disappearance of Jim Thompson is not merely another case that entered the crime reports. It is a story about a man, about his short but vibrant life, about his aspirations and dreams, about what motivated him every day. It is a story mystery that continues to stir minds and tug at hearts after many years. And so, the main question inevitably resurfaces in memory. What exactly happened on that fateful day when Jim vanished in Cameron Highlands? And are we ever destined to learn the answer to this enigma?